Okay, so we're going to start a new weekend business, a food truck, or as they call it, a kitchen car in Japan. My job will be basically building the car and also kind of working inside it, making or cooking, whatever we decide on the menu. So in this video, I just want to outline some of the requirements for the construction of the car and some of the challenges that we're probably going to face. Also, I just want to highlight I'm not a professional. Um, I've had experience with working on this house or renovating it, but nothing like this. Okay. Also, I sometimes make mistakes, and I tend to work without a detailed plan. I just sort of visualize what I want to make and go ahead and try to make that. I don't work for other people, so it's not a problem. So just please keep that in mind, okay? Later on in another video, I'll go into the details about how to get the hygiene license and this safety inspection for the kitchen cars, which is different from a regular kind of safety check for a normal passenger car in Japan. Also, recently, the rules for kitchen cars in Japan, they're becoming a bit more unified. Before, they were quite kind of fractured and kind of depending on the prefecture, or even in the city, there were like different regulations. But that said, like every time I go to a festival and I sort of poke my head inside the car and have a kind of look, uh, these rules seem to be very applied very inconsistently. Some cars don't have a fan, some cars have like an old style sink. Um, some cars don't have the separation wall. That's something I was going to talk about later. So it just seems who you get that inspects the car on the day, I guess. Let's go into the details. Yeah, firstly, the driver's side and the cooking area has to be completely separated. So it has to be some kind of dividing wall. If you're in a truck, it doesn't matter. It's going to be separated anyway. If you're using like a regular kind of car, you're going to have to build some kind of dividing wall between that. Secondly, there has to be two sinks. One, I guess, for kind of washing your hands of hygiene, others for washing utensils, things like that. Um, the sink has to have a faucet that is like a lever type or a sensor type. You apparently can't use the old kind of cross section type anymore, maybe for contamination reasons. Um, Also, on the topic of water, this is a really big issue. Depending on how many stages of cooking, it's going to have different requirements for water. So, for example, if you're doing one step cooking process, like something like coffee or some other kind of beverage, it only requires 40 liters. If you're doing a two-step process, yeah, you need 80 liters. And something more complicated, you need like a three-step process, you're going to need 120 liters, and that's a really big tank. So you're going to need like two tanks, one for disposable and one for kind of storing the water. So space becomes a real issue. Also, keeping that in mind, all the cooking has to be done inside the car in Japan. You can't just cook something in the kitchen at your home and bring it along and then kind of reheat it in the car. If you're going to do any cooking outside of the car, it has to be done in like a registered kitchen. You can rent them. They can be a little bit expensive sometimes, case by case. And then, you transfer the food inside like a heating container or something and put it in the car and then reheat it. That's fine. But it's going to add to the cost. Also, you're going to need a ventilation fan. This is something I've seen in some cars don't seem to have it, or they just unplug it. And you also need sort of adequate lighting as well. So that's the basic outline. In the next video, we're gonna go pick up the car that we managed to score for free. I'll kind of go basically into details about what happened there, and then I'll get to work on stripping it and see how to proceed next. So anyway, yeah, join me on this adventure. I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of drama and issues along the way, so hopefully you'll get something out of it. All right, see you next time.